Hey, welcome into Shockerland. It's Billy, Kyle, and we are feeling good. We are doing an emergency Shockerland episode because we just can't wait.
Yes.
We've got to talk about what just happened. Wichita State went to Cincinnati, almost, to Northern Kentucky,
right across the river,
and beat Cincinnati. It was close, but still, there was a bit of convincingly done, I think. The Shockers led the entire second half, and wow, Kyle, the Shockers look great tonight. And I don't want to say act surprised, but that was a high-quality win, the best win of the season, I would say. What's your take on it?
But I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the best win of the season by far. It's the best regular season win in the Gregg Marshall era. And beating the top or the fifth best team in the nation on their home court on a nationally televised game, it's just incredible. And it's probably, I mentioned it's the best game of the season, but just how the Shockers played from start to finish.
Yeah.
They were nearly dominant. I mean, the first half, the lead went back and forth for a little bit. But, I mean, the Shockers got off to a quick start. They got off to an 11-4 lead, 11-6 lead. And then they rolled.
Yeah. Shockers won by 4, ultimately, 76-72. Let me ask you this. Let's break this down. Okay, so the Shockers came into this game 6.5-point underdogs. First time they're not favored to win all season. And so Cincinnati, better ranked, better record. Wichita State had faltered some in the regular season. 6.5-point underdog to winning by 4 points. Was this a case of Cincinnati being overrated or Wichita State being underrated?
Yeah, great question.
Okay, answer it, please.
If I have to.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Cincinnati was overrated because when you say that, you're kind of, I don't know, minimizing the victory for the Shockers.
Okay.
But there is some truth to that because Cincinnati is now 0-3 against ranked teams this season.
Yeah.
And whether the fans want to hear this or not, the Bearcats they haven't proven themselves on the court. And so the Shockers, they started off top 10 to start the season, and then they had a few games where they lost. But, man, they've been ranked the whole season, and they're really starting to find their groove. And so I think this says more about the Shockers than it does about Cincinnati, to be honest.
I agree. Because I think Cincinnati played well. I don't think they played poorly. And I got to tell you, that full court press Cincinnati had is the best the Shockers have seen all season. That was unbelievable. It gave Landry Shamet trouble. It gave Austin Reeves trouble. When Connor was in the game, and Connor was in the game much more than some of the previous close games they've had. It gave the guards, the backcourt for Wichita State trouble, yet they still were able to prevail in that one. But, man, I got to tell you, the heart attack moment for me was Landry Shamet's turnover. And he was being double-teamed. It was a difficult time, but that's the power of Cincinnati's full-court press, and it almost turned the game
You're talking
into
about
their
with
favor.
about 10, 15 seconds left?
Yeah, with not a lot of time left. In the final minute, we were up 4 or 6 points, and they get a steal and so quickly turn around and score off of that and call a timeout, and suddenly it's like, what just happened? Cincinnati played a good game.
They did.
That's what,
they
now,
really did.
they need to hit some free throws. They got to practice the free throw thing, and the coach talked about that. But they are a quality team. I don't think they were exposed in any way as an overrated team so much as Wichita State finally put a full game together.
Yes. And I just want to say, let's just appreciate this moment as Shocker fans. Not only the victory, but just the fact that we faced the number 5 team in the nation in our own conference.
Yeah.
We played on ESPN. It was, the game of the day for that network.
That's right.
And it was a terrific environment. I mean, the arena was packed. The fans, they had a red out, so we were the big game for them for the season. And I mean, it was
with glow sticks.
Yeah, with glow sticks
that they threw
that
on the
you could
court.
throw on the court.
Apparently.
I mean, it was a great game for this conference. It just shows that now Wichita State is up there with the elites in college basketball.
Right. Okay, and that takes me to my next question. I got 3 questions, and this is the first one was underrated or overrated. How did that go? Okay, what did we learn about the Shockers? Is there one individual player that stood out that we learned something about, or them as a team? What did we learn about this team now moving forward into what is becoming the most important part of the season now as we get closer to the postseason? What did we learn from the Shockers?
I think we learned that the Shockers are offensively dominant. I mean, they are a top 10 team in the nation offensively, and with just a little bit of defense, I mean, this team can beat anyone in the nation. And I think that's a problem the Shockers had maybe the last couple of years. They had a top 10 defense, but they had so many times during the games where they just couldn't score. And especially like the last year or two with Baker and Van Vliet, they were tremendous defensively, but there were times where offensively they couldn't do a lot. And so this team, yes, they might give up a few buckets every once in a while, but man, they can score and they can shoot lights out and they can score inside, they can score outside.
Yeah, with even guys coming off the bench with depth.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
They can score. And that was the big question I think coming in. Cincinnati was such a good defensive team,
number 2 in the nation.
Yeah, something had to give. And the Cincinnati defense gave a lot more than the Wichita offense did,
yes.
which was good. That's what we learned about the Shockers is this offense is for real. And it's a little strange to see a Gregg Marshall-led team lead with offense rather than they're not going to win a 56-54 game. You know, they're going to have to go score 76 points, 80 points, 85 points to win. I'm fine with that. That's probably more fun type of game to watch.
And also, I just want to mention that another thing I learned is this team has become mentally tough.
Yeah.
I mean, to go on the road and beat the number 5 team with crazy fans that were booing, were heckling, throwing stuff on the court at one time, you have to be mentally strong. And this team, maybe it's because they have so many seniors, maybe it's because they've done this before, like beating Baylor when they were ranked on the road. They have that mindset now where they're winners and nothing's going to faze them.
And they faced some adversity earlier in the season
absolutely.
in which they understand wins are not going to be handed to them. They have to go earn them, and we saw that. Okay, last question then. What does this mean moving forward, okay? Because it's still the regular season. That was a huge win, but right now Cincinnati is still on top in the conference standings. That was only their second conference loss. Wichita State has 3. So what does this mean now moving forward?
First, for the conference, the fact that the Shockers are 1 game back now means that they control their own destiny.
Yeah.
If they win out, if they beat Cincinnati at home for the final game of the season, they're going to be champions. They're going to at least be co-champions of the regular season. They will get the tiebreaker for the American tournament. And so, I mean, I think the Shockers knew that. I mean, they obviously knew that going into this game, but that was hugely important for them to win the tournament or win the conference, and they're on a good path right now.
I think also what it means, I think Wichita State's now going to be favored in their game against Cincinnati. I think, and to flip a 6.5 for a line to move 6.5 points,
10 points
even go away to home, that's a huge swing. And I could see the Shockers not favored by a bunch, but I could see the Shockers being favored at home. Here's what may be difficult, and we say this all the time. We're fans. We get to look ahead. We're already looking ahead to March 4th, 11 a.m. It's a Sunday, and I'm not happy about that because I will be in church. But I can record the game. And so March 4th, Sunday, 11 a.m. is when Wichita State plays host to Cincinnati. But there's 3 games before that. And so you've got to take on Tulane. You've got to take on SMU again, who you've lost to. SMU doesn't have Shake Milton, their best player, but so be it. And then UCF, again, without their best player. Are there any trap games in there, or are these teams just not good enough to put up a fight?
I think a lot of it depends on the health of Shake Milton.
Okay.
Because he's been, I don't want to say day to day with his injury, but they haven't given a big picture update for his injury. And so each game, the day of the game, it's okay. He's now out, and so there could be a chance that he plays against the Shockers, and if he does, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
If he's out, this game is in Dallas, so it will be a tough environment. But without Shake Milton, the Shockers will be favored, and UCF will be a little bit of a challenge as well because they are a good defensive team, and that's another road game. It would actually be a quadrant 1 win if we're talking NCAA.
There you go. Ooh, quadrant talk. Hey.
So a little bit of a challenge, but nothing to the extent of a Houston or a Temple or a Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay, and so we got to wrap this up. It's going long, but we're loving it.
It's
great. So, do we expect how far do we expect Wichita State to climb then in some of the rankings? Could we see them in that top 16 rankings that the committee puts out? Could we see them rise to a 4 seed?
I think
tough call.
I think after this win, the Shockers are a 4 seed.
Okay.
Now, before the win, most sort of experts had them as a 5 or 6 seed, and this being a huge win on the road, the committee is putting extra value in the road wins this season, and so for how highly the committee really thought highly of Cincinnati because they were a 2 seed. Now they lost to Houston, now they lost to Wichita State, but the fact that they had Cincinnati such high up there makes me think that a win over them would really help elevate the Shockers.
Yeah. Wichita State at number 19, I believe, in the AP poll. Cincinnati at number 5. I think it would be tough to expect Wichita State to completely climb above Cincinnati. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
They do have that Houston loss though too. That's right. That hasn't been accounted for yet in the rankings. Oh, there's so much to look forward to.
What a season!
Yes, what a season it has been. The next game for the Shockers is Wednesday against Tulane at home. But we're all looking to March. We're looking to the March 4th
Not you
game
players.
against Cincinnati.
You don't do that.
You players concentrate on Tulane, and wherever that game may be, be fun. So much to look forward to. But this is a huge step. What I think is true, the best regular season win in the Gregg Marshall era. Or most important regular season win for sure. So celebrate, Shockers fans. Have fun. There's more basketball to come, and the stage is now set for even some bigger games ahead.